StemCyte is an international stem cell therapeutic company. We have our headquarters in Covina, Los Angeles. In Taiwan, we have a facility. In India, we have a facility. And in Taiwan is our wholly owned subsidiary. But in India, we have a strategic partner with Apollo Hospital, with Cadila. And we only do the COBLA business, private bank, public bank, and as well as the regenerative medicine. We don't do embryonic, we don't do other cells. However, we do start the peripheral blood, developing the peripheral blood business for the regenerative medicine in Taiwan. We use the umbilical blood, which is approved stem cell products for transplantation. And we have over 1,750 transplant already for the last 10 years. And around the world, 240 leading transplantation center in 35 countries using our COBLA. And the COBLA, as you know, is a well-established product, clinical products for the transplantation for blood disorder mainly. And on top of the private bank and the public bank, we do have a regenerative therapy. We're in a clinical trial, a phase 2 clinical trial in Hong Kong, China, and in Taiwan for spinal cord injury regeneration and also for chronic stroke. We have 33,000 in our inventory. This is our international expansion. We established the US company in 1997, and in Taiwan 2000, and in India 2010. Quality control is our main, it's really our main focus. We have 400, SOP for our process, the whole process. So we have a high quality for all three companies. As Greg mentioned in his presentation, our foundation is a public bank, and we established that when we started in the U.S. business, and then we increased our business to a private bank around 2005, and we've been doing using the COBLA, the CD34. And total mononuclear cells for regenerative medicine for the last 10 years. Our main focus is in the neurological disorders, the chronic stroke and the spinal cord regeneration. As I mentioned before, our foundation is really a public bank. And we established that in 1997, and then we moved into the private bank. And then do the international expansion. And then we have been doing the regenerative medicine for the last 10 years. We're doing a human clinical trial now. The reason we put this chart on it, this is our roadmaps. And as you know, to establish an R&D in-house, for the neurological disorder therapy is going to be very expensive. We just don't have the resources or don't have the money to develop the R&D in-house. So what we're doing is we develop a strategic collaborative research with the Rutgers University, of which Dr. Wai Xiang is the director of the Keck Neuroscience Center. As you probably know, Dr. Yang is Superman's doctor, Christopher Reeve. When Christopher Reeve got injured, he's the doctor try to cure, the spinal cord injury of, the Superman. And we've been working together for the last 10 years. We only use the isolated total mononuclear cells from the umbilical cord blood. We don't do expansion. We just do the isolation or the processing. So we have a unique process, the patent pending process to isolate the total mononuclear cell. We also develop a way to ship, to pack, and to ship the process, the total mononuclear cell. We have the stability and to demonstrate the viability of the isolated total mononuclear cells, and the CD34 was stabilized for 7 days. So we can ship it from here to worldwide, to other places for hospital to the transplantation. So this is a unique technology we developed in-house. We go through the collaborations. We sponsor the clinical trial. We provide the raw material using umbilical cord blood, and we file patents if any invention occurs. We have the right to first market the patented technology, and that's the model we use. And economically, this is much efficient model than to have the R&D facility in-house. It's just too expensive for us to build our R&D group to hire the neurosurgeons to do the research, or neuroscience to do the research. And in Taiwan, we have Dr. John Lin, who is a well-known the neurosurgeon in authority in the world. And he using, first he using the peripheral blood, a CD34 isolated from peripheral and do the chronic stroke. He just completed the phase 2 clinical trial, which we can see the dramatic improvement for patients who suffered the chronic stroke. And the result will be published by the end of this year. And also, Yang has finished phase 2 clinical trial in Hong Kong and China. The result will be published by the end of this year as well. And you will see the technology development. It's outstanding from those two, the neurosurgeons. Okay. This slide is going to show you, this is the question about hybrid model, whether what we can leverage from. Okay. We realized the operation leverage. We start from the public bank and then moving to the public bank, using the same quality, same process for the private bank as well. So the quality is important to everything we're talking about here, but we believe is even more important in this business. So we, both the chairman and myself, and also the president in Taiwan, and we all came from a big company, Johnson & Johnson, and we know the quality is the number one for our product. And we always believe our customers are very smart and want to provide them the best we have for the patient and newborn. Okay. Another important elements here, we hire the right people and let them run the specific business. This is the decentralized model we have used in J&J. J&J is a decentralized organization. We make sure we hire the right people and have them manage that. And just give you, Ken Jason and myself, our chairman and myself, we've been working together from J&J time for over 20 years. We helped to build the therapeutic skincare business for Johnson & Johnson from $200 million to $2 billion. We helped J&J buy two companies. One, probably you all know about the Neutrogena, and the one in Europe called the ROC. Those two companies are the company we acquire, and we produce our product through those two, the companies, therapeutic skincare. So Johnson & Johnson now is the #1 therapeutic skincare because we know how to develop the business from that end. And we believe the stem cell from the umbilical blood is the main sources, is the sources for the regenerative medicines. And that's the reason we have supported the clinical trial for the last 10 years until recently we have a human clinical study. And we are one of the few companies doing the human clinical trial using stem cell from the cobra. This slide shows you is not that easy. It sounds very easy to build a combination model, a hybrid public bank, but it's really not easy. Execution is so difficult for the last 10 years. It's not that easy to say it, but it's so difficult to. We started as a public bank, as I mentioned that. And we know at the beginning in 2003, this is a professional endorsement business. We cannot do it by ourselves. So we established in 2003, we developed the first international cord blood transplantation symposium. And I'm the first one that developed that. You can see that in San Francisco. Then the first year, 2003, we only have 80 attendees. The 40 attendees from StemCyte and not 40 from worldwide. But now in San Francisco, just this year in June 6th, we have over 600 attendees from 37 countries. And the people from the industry to share experiences to promote the cord blood transplantation. And then we have now such a, prosper, the cord blood transplantation industry. And we know this is a professional endorsement, so we developed a very close relationship with the medical professionals. And as I mentioned to you before, we hire right people and excellent people in 3 areas. And we have a very strong support and investors. And at the beginning, I'm an investor of the StemCyte as well. I'm a partner of Sycamore Ventures. I'm still a partner of that, but now I'm a full-time the CEO for the company to help the company build a business so we can take the company to go public. For the last 10 years, I have helped the company to raise $50 million from the W. Harper's, and also from the Kuwaiti Investment Authority, NTAC. And now the pre-IPO, we got money from the largest financial institution in Taiwan called Fubon Security. So we've been lucky to have a strong and supportive investors. And now we break even and profitable. We don't need to go out and raise money. We are ready to go public. Let me quick go through the public banking. You have pretty much our public bank, basically mandate we prepare by the highest regulatory standards. And the public bank give us the distribution channel and a reputation for the true global business we have. And the public bank also give us to compete for the meaningful government contract. We are very, very appreciative to the NTAC and the HRSA. We got the grant from them. And we got the HRSA grant since 2006. So because our public bank, and we appreciate that. And the public bank also created the asset of the clinical grade, the HLA type, the stem cell. We have our own HLA typing facility, ASHI accredited. So it's give us the leverage and in the HLA typing area. Also, the public bank gives us a key point of differentiation in the private bank business. Most of the private bank business, they don't have a public, but we have a public, and we have a successful transplant record to support our private business. We have a track record of performance, collection, shipping, processing, and delivery of the life science. This is just to show you, we have all the accreditation as you can name it. Okay, FDA, FAC, AABB, MNDP, COIA, CAP, CA Biological License, ASHI, NIND, and MNDP. And we're in the process to develop the BLA. Quick go through the private bank. I think the private bank, we always talk to our customers. Okay, when the cells are needed, okay, they should have the trust and the confidence in the private bank to know that the cells will be viable. And that's the question we talk to our customer. How do we gain the trust and the confidence from a customer? We're operating under the highest regulatory standard, as you can see from the accreditation we have. And also test repeatedly and having a proven track record for providing the umbilical cord unit for transplantation. We have a successful transplant, 1,750 already up to date. We work closely with the physicians community and actually using the cells if and when the time comes. Okay. And this is our matrix, competitive matrix. I only mentioned the last one. We have a lifesaver guarantee. We guarantee customers if the engraven fail, we're using their unit, engraven fails, we'll pay them $50,000 back. And we'll find another unit from our public bank and for free to treat the patient for the private bank customer, which is no other bank can afford to do that because they don't have the public bank. We have. Let me quickly go through the advanced therapeutic program we have. We just completed 41 patients, phase 2 clinical trial in Hong Kong and in China. This is for spinal cord regeneration. The early outcome looks very promising. Some of the patients start working with walkers. But the result will be available by the end of this year. And our global medical director, Dr. Wai Xiang, will publish that result. For the chronic stroke, the peripheral blood, using the CD34 isolated from the peripheral blood, has also been completed in Taiwan. And now it's under government review. And the result looks very, very good. We have very clear evidence inject the CD34 through the damage the stroke site, and we can see the nerve regenerate and regrow again, and the patients start walking themselves without walker. We see that improvement dramatically. Again, Dr. Lin will publish that result end of this year or early next year. We are in the process applying for using the umbilical cord blood, the total mononuclear cells isolate from the umbilical cord blood to treat the chronic stroke. We believe that will have a very, very good result from that study. And the study will be done in both in Hong Kong and in Taiwan. And next year, Dr. Weiss Young planned to have the spinal cord regeneration clinical trial in US here. We have already have 8 hospitals sign up willing to do it. And so we'll see a very good clinical trial in US using the same technique we use in Hong Kong and China. And this is to show you, actually, we believe the regenerative, the therapy, advanced therapy, once we have success, that will help our private business. It will help the public transplant as well as help the private bank. We already receive a lot of customers come to us. They show the result from the chronic stroke. They say, well, I want to do the peripheral blood clinical trial for you. I'm pretty healthy now, but I know I have a family history. I have a chronic stroke. My grandparents suffer a chronic stroke. So I want to store my peripheral blood in case I have a chronic stroke. Okay, that. And also, they learn about the umbilical cord blood. They say, can you find a unit for me? I want to save that unit for myself in case I have a chronic stroke. I can use it. So we start seeing the benefit from the result there. And this is the reason I think we think the combination has advantages, tremendous, but it's very difficult to establish this model as I pointed to you in my few slides. This is our IP platform. We have 4 patents granted, and we have other 6 patents pending. Some of the patent at the end, at the bottom of the, as you can see, is we develop a process, packaging, and the shipping conditions, which will allow us to ship the product to worldwide hospitals to do a transplant. This is the 2012 highlight. Basically, we established the India facility, India company. We passed the FAC accreditation this year repeatedly. This is every 2 years. We have the AABB, and we're doing the BLA, and we established the sales force. Financially, this is a very, this is a slide to show you we have a compound annual growth rate 29.3% from 2008 to 2012. And we believe the company is on the right track, and we have a lot of exciting news will be released soon. And okay, thank you very much.
All right, in the interest of time. Sure.
Jonas, thank you very much for your talk. The 1750 trials must be done. I presume they're mainly from the public bank, are they? Are they primarily from the public bank?
The public bank, yes. In those, 1750, only 6 are the private bank. They're using themselves.
Okay.
All the others, major 99.9% are public bank, yes.
And you alluded in your presentation that your public bank is mainly financed by grants. Is that still the case? Because that's one of the challenges we have as private banks. It's all very well to say, let's do a public-private partnership, but who pays for the public bank?
Who pays the public bank?
Who pays for setting up a public bank?
Investor.
That's what you've
40
done.
million.
Right, okay. And last question, based on what Greg said this morning about TNC cutoff, what's your TNC cutoff at StemCyte?
Well, our TNC cut is 120.
Times 10 to the 8?
10 to 7.
10 to 7, okay,
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
120 is the average TNC. The current cutoff for collection, we're turning away 4 units for every one we put in the bank. The current threshold is 150 to 175 TNCs. And the bank, the public bank, was built on investor money that was underwritten by HRSA contracts and funding from the California government. So it's a combination of private investment and investment from governmental entities. The collection, the cost of collecting into that public bank was subsidized by the government in part, but mostly it was investor money.
Yeah.
Good to know because, sorry, I'm from Smart Cells International in the UK. We have a cut of 200. I might make some more money now by reducing that VAT.
Yeah, I mean, there's a direct relationship between TNC count, average TNC count in your public bank and your utilization rate. If your TNC count is 200 and above, your utilization rate is going to be between 5 and 10%. If your TNC count is 120, the average TNC count for banks around the world, your utilization rate is going to be more on the order of 1 to 3 and probably down at the 1% level. So if you're in a public bank and you want to make money off your public bank, you're going to have to up your TNC counts and up the CD34 counts in the bank. That's the lesson learned. So, anyway, thank you, Jonas. Oops. Okay, we now have the opportunity to hear from Roberto.